My name is Steve Kuo, and what I'm going to be doing today is refactoring GildedRose to a common endpoint that I get to and then branch off and do other things. I'm a big fan of deliberate practice, so I like to practice this beginning stretch, but I won't include that in my other videos that'll come from this. So I'm just going to record this one slightly separately. I'm very familiar with GildedRose and have copied in a set suite of tests that cover the full functionality that I will show you that go ahead and run at this stage. And I'm going to go ahead and dive into the refactor really quick. I'm going to use primarily IDE refactors, not be using AI for this at this stage. So show context actions, replace enhanced for there. I am going to be using primarily keyboard shortcuts for this and IDE features. So what I did is initially I replaced the for I loop for a for loop using items. Now I'm going to go through here and I'm going to actually remove all the bangs, all the knots in here. Because what I've discovered over time is that knots very helpful. However, they can be overlooked or missed over time. So for this refactor, I'm going to go ahead and start doing that. And in this refactor, I'm going to be highlighting three basic techniques, one of which is make like things more like and put them together, make dissimilar things more dissimilar. And thirdly, sometimes you have to make things a little bit messy before it gets better. And what you just saw was me making things a little bit messy before it gets better. And what I'm going to do here really quick is I'm going to take this first item here, or this item, the Sulfuros Hand of Ragnaros, which is a legendary item. And I am going to put it up here at the top, and I'm going to hit continue. AI is trying to be helpful. I'm not going to accept that right now because I know that if you're one of these types of items, you don't modify it at all. And what that allows me to do is to come in here and I can delete this code that is no longer being used. I'm going to unwrap this block. I'm going to come in here. I'm going to delete this else statement right here. And I'm going to do an option enter there. I'm going to remove that. And down here for this one, boom. I've now deleted that condition. It's up at the very top. I'm going to go ahead and run my tests, show you that it's running still. Then now right here, I've got if it's aged brie or a backstage pass. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to duplicate this bit of logic that is right here and down to here. I'm going to duplicate this logic by doing a copy here. And I'm going to paste it right here, right there. And I'm going to put an else if I need to add another set of braces right there. If I remember right. Nope, I don't need to add braces there because that goes there. My tests will show me the way right there. And what I have done right here is I haven't added anything special. I've duplicated things. I made it a little bit messier. But what I can do is come in here and I can delete this conditional right here. And I can delete this conditional right here. Make sure I delete the right ones. And if I run this again, it's still going to be passing. Then I come in here, since this is only aged brie now, I can come in here, I can highlight where the end of that bracket is, and I can delete that. And then this one right here, I don't need this conditional because I'm already in that step. I can unwrap the block right there. And for the regular item, it just works the same. Now I've got this set of this block of code down here that happens after I decrement the cell in for both aged brie, backstage passes, and regular items. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to find out where the bracket is right there. And I'm actually going to make things ugly again. I'm going to cut that code out. And then in here in aged brie, I'm going to delete that right there. I'm going to paste all that big block of code in. I'm going to come in here. I'm going to paste all that big block of code in. And I'm going to paste right there and delete all that big block of code. And I'm going to run my tests, and you will see they are still all passing. Now, what I do is I come in, I'm in the aged brie block. I can then come in and delete everything that is not the aged brie right here. And in addition to that, I no longer need this aged brie conditional. I can delete that, and I can do an option enter, and I can unwrap block right there. Right here, I have my backstage pass right there, which I come in here and I don't need this block anymore, which is aged brie, because I'm in the backstage pass or the ticket block. And I can do an option enter here to unwrap the block. Then in here, I've got this if statement. This is for regular code, the else. I don't need that. Then I can come in and delete that right there. And I do an option enter to unwrap block right there. And then finally, we're in here. We don't need the aged brie anymore. Delete that, option enter, unwrap block. And then in this one, I have that. I don't need that because that's for a concert ticket. And we're in the regular item, and I'm going to unwrap block right there. And so then what you see is I've got my hand of Ragnaros, my legendary item, my aged item, my backstage pass item, and my regular item. I'm going to go ahead and run the tests. Everything's still green. Then one last thing I need to do here is I've got this continue right up here. If I go like this, else if, oh, and I go like that, I don't need this continue anymore. It's actually going to be an empty block. But what you see now is I have 4 different conditionals. So Sulfurous Anger Ragnaros, Aged Brie, Backstage Pass, and a regular item. And this is where I'm going to start my other videos with. But what I've done is I've grouped everything. I've duplicated a little bit of the code. I've duplicated the sell-in code. And the update, there's an item quality that was both for the cheese, the aged brie, and the concert ticket. I've duplicated those. Sometimes, for the sake of grouping things together, you can do that. You'll see a bit more when I do the next refactors, but that's where I'm at. And thank you for watching.